Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Prelude to Positivity. Today, my guest is author, and I would say advocate also for foster care and LGBTQ issues, Casey Hardman. Casey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Just in case there's people out there that don't know about you who are going to be listening, I would like you to tell us a little bit about you, how you got into writing what you write, and how you grew up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a Canadian. I'm a 30-year-old, and when I was younger, I was raised in the foster system, and for a long time, I didn't know how to express anything, and so I was told to write how I felt on paper, and so that I can kind of reflect on it later and kind of go through my issues and struggles that way. And without realizing it, I found that I wanted to write, and so I just kept going and going, and I've self-published my first book in 2010, and since then I've basically been writing nonstop. This past year, I came out with three additional books, and one of them was my memoir for my foster care experience.
So did it start out like journaling originally? Was it a journaling activity that you did?
It was a lot just for myself, but and then I would have to go back on it and share that with other people when I had certain issues arising, and to kind of go over what was going on in my life, and it was a way to reflect and kind of grow from it. So
So most people wouldn't publish their journals necessarily, but you did. You
yeah, I did. For when I self-published my first one in 2010, it was actually kind of like a journal log, and it was specific to daily experiences. So I would write certain things down, relationships I had, kind of write them out, and then I did a follow-up to that 10 years later. And I changed the theme. It wasn't so much a journal, but it was in the same sort of reflection kind of idea.
and a lot of people that are in therapy and on a mental health journey, they do recommend that you keep a journal. So
Yeah,
how did the journal help you in your? Well, if somebody else came to you and said, I'm really not comfortable doing a journal, but they want me to do it for my mental health, what would you say to them? What's the benefits of it?
I would definitely recommend doing it, whether you think it may be beneficial or not. At least for me, I found myself to be very closed off a lot. And so writing things down, I can be as angry as I want or say whatever I want without any repercussions. And so I was able to go back later when I'd be in a good mood and be like, whoa, that's definitely, something that I need to work on. So that's something to really use to better a situation later. And so I felt as though it was really good, and I think other people could benefit from it.
Cool. Now I want to talk a little bit about your books. So was the first one Clearing of the Clouded Mind?
Passages of a Clouded Mind.
That was the first one.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that a little bit? What is it
Yeah.
about? And
Yeah. So, like I said, it was kind of a journal, and at that time I was 20 when I finished writing it, and so I didn't exactly have the best when it came to relationships, whether friendships or partners, and so there was a lot of, okay, well, what am I doing wrong, or what's wrong with me, because nothing can last. And
mm,
so I kind of write certain feelings, or if I'd see something and something happened, I'd want to write that down. And so the whole purpose of it was my mind felt so clouded. I felt as though there was too much going on. I didn't know how to process it. I couldn't weave my way through it, and so writing everything, that was the whole point. Passages, they were small little passages from my clouded mind that needed to get cleared, which I felt as though in some ways happened later. And so I did the follow-up clearing of the clouded mind, where I felt a little more understanding of certain situations. I was at a better place in my life, and so I was able to accept everything. And so, yeah.
cool. And then you also have a book called The Rainbow Spark. How did that
Yes.
come about?
So, what was about 9 years ago, I actually started writing it, and I had just had a couple of failed relationships, and once again, they never lasted long, and so I never knew what that was about. And being in the gay scene when you're in your late teens, early 20s, it's a little overwhelming at times, and you get so focused on trying to meet somebody or
Yeah.
the next party, and so I wanted to kind of put myself in a position where to tell a new story, but still kind of include parts of me and my experiences in the gay scene. And so I came up with this book, and it's basically just about that, about being a younger gay man going through the day-to-day experiences and failed relationships, new relationships, and the kind of struggles you may face dealing with that.
There's a lot of pressure in that, especially with social media. Now it seems like everybody on social media is about relationships or about getting a relationship or about showing off themselves so they can get a relationship. So it's a lot of pressure around being a gay guy, and especially at early 20s or even 30s. And even later on, it feels like it's like, oh my God, all this pressure. If I'm, what's wrong with me? Oh, it's always that question.
Oh, so much pressure and trying to get into the best body or, the best job, the sharpest mind. And it's just always about being the best, it feels. And at times it's okay to not be the best and, just yeah.
Well, I feel like the thing about being the best is it's kind of like ingrained in you that you have to be the best in order to attract someone, which is so not true. And
Yeah.
it's counterproductive actually.
Oh, it totally is. And, we all have flaws. And I think our flaws are makes us a part of who we are. And, those should be highlighted and, shared because it's shows that there's room to grow. If you're the
Mm,
best at everything, then you're not going anywhere. You're just going to be stuck right where you are. So,
exactly. And then the latest book that you have is 13 Years Fostered. Is that the newest?
yes. So that's well, it was actually the the third one. I came out with the Rainbow Spark after it,
Okay.
just because but yeah, it was probably my most meaningful piece of work that I've written. It's about my time in the foster system and quite heavy, I guess you could say, with emotions and because it was a huge part of my life and a lot of struggles, a lot of issues, situations, and so I came out with the Rainbow Spark. I wanted to release it as a shorter, maybe uplifting read from that, just to allow a little bit of a break from such a heavy read, but a read that I felt was important.
Do you think that that's the most personal one out of all of them, even more personal than the journals?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, it took a long time to write it, and it took a lot of myself. And within because it took me about just over 10 years to finish writing, and everything. I put everything, part of me, my heart, my mind, and talked about a lot of things that I held in, felt too embarrassed or too ashamed, and so you're really opening up, and so it becomes even more meaningful than a journal because it's my truest feelings and thoughts were in it. So yeah.
What did you learn about yourself during the process of writing that one?
That no matter what kind of struggle that I was faced with, there's always, like, I know it can be corny at times to hear, but by pushing through, you can really persevere and see the light at the end of the tunnel, and um, it's shown me to look back on all those situations and things that I went through that I can come out of it fine and happy and find some meaning behind that.
Now, you grew up in Canada, correct?
Yes.
Not in the States, but either Canada or the States, or I think most countries, foster care is not exactly perfect. There are some things that are usually wrong with it. Um, so basically, as far as that goes, if the kids out there that are in foster care now, what advice do you give them to give them some hope or to get them through?
To hang on, and I especially with the pandemic going on
Mm,
worldwide this past year and a bit, it's even more terrifying, especially during the times of quarantine or certain place restrictions where you can't actually go and visit people, right? So
Right.
then um, there's these kids who already are feeling alone, feeling separated, and unsure of what's going on because they don't have their family in their life. They don't know what's going on, and at times, certain kids will have small visitations, and then you really look forward to those visitations. And then because of this, you can't just go from your foster home to back with your parents or your families to say hello and visit them. So whether it's on Zoom or Skype or video chats, it's difficult because it's not the same.
Yeah.
And
I think the biggest problem with this whole thing is that you can't hug anyone. You
no.
can't, you can't hug them. And I think hugs are like really important when it comes to connecting with people.
Oh, for sure. And I think being somebody in the foster system, you want that connection. You want to feel like you are connected to someone or something. And so, even for me, I'm a big hugger. I love hugging. It's probably the best way to show endearment and show that you care about somebody, a nice tight embrace and you feel connected. And now you can't do that. So it's
It took it away. And also, there are kids in foster care that aren't out of touch with their actual families. Some of them actually have connection to their real family, but they're in foster care too. So that may hinder them from being able to actually connect more with their actual family. And they may feel like it's ruining the chances for them to get back with their actual family.
Oh, absolutely. It's gonna feel like a major setback. And yeah, I couldn't imagine it. And I know from when I was in care, which was almost 20 years ago, like it's a long time, but so much has changed since then. And then you add things like a pandemic where you can't even go and see somebody. It's just so different. And I've had various conversations with people who social workers who are still doing their job, and they talk about how different but how difficult it is. And so I can't imagine.
Now, would you ever foster a child?
I honestly thought about it, and it took me so long to work on my own issues and the people in my life and surrounding all of that. And it was at times so challenging where I wanted to give up. I didn't want to keep going and try to fight for it, and it took a long time to try and find the reasons and reminders as to why I should. And even now, just as of last year, I think I was probably the best shape emotionally with everything, dealing with everything once I finished writing my book. And to foster, you're opening all that up while adding so much more in. And I don't know if I could personally handle it because I'm already an emotional wreck. I'm easy to cry, I'm easy to feel things, but I don't know if I'd be able to actually handle it. And I wouldn't want to take the risk when these kids need somebody who knows full well, yes, I want to do this. I can be right in it and help them. And I just don't know if I could, which is unfortunate, but
That's fair. It's because it seems like it's the fair way to be if you're not, instead of doing something halfway.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, as far as being a queer person, what do you think about queer representation in literature and entertainment and just in general now? Do you think we still have a lot more to go with that, or are you happy with the way that we're being represented in literature, especially being that you're a writer?
I think it's definitely come a long way. Maybe not as good as some people would want. I think it's more of a personal preference of what you are looking for. For me, I think it's pretty good. you know, I don't know if it's just because, gay friends or lesbian friends, trans friends that I have, people will post certain things like, oh, did you check this out? Or did you see this? And so, because especially now I have a lot more in the community, so I'm seeing a lot more specifically for that. Whereas before, you if you had more straight friends, you maybe not would see that. And but I think it's definitely getting better.
I also think that people who are queer usually are more expressive when it comes to feelings and things, and they tend to be a little bit more creative because they have to be growing up. So it's like everybody was just waiting for the door to open, and then when it opened up a little bit, it does feel like a lot of them rushed through, and they're like, thank God we can finally share all this.
Yes, exactly. It's like, here I am.
They like shows like Pose and things like that. I think they were just waiting in the wings. It wasn't like they needed to find these things. Things existed.
Oh, exactly. And it makes you grateful for, people like Ryan Murphy, who does so much for the representation in various forms, and everything he puts out there is just incredible with the talent, but also the actual dialogue and the connections that people are making on his, it's just really good.
Yeah, there's a realness to it.
There is. Yeah.
Would you ever want your books, any of your books, to be a movie or like a TV series or something like that?
Oh, wow. I I don't know. It would be interesting to see, but right now I think I'm more, I just want people to find it. I want people to be able to read it and to maybe learn something, or to share a similarity in their own life, or so maybe down the road. But I think right now I'm especially just in the moment of actually having it out and published. So
Unless Ryan Murphy calls.
oh, exactly.
Ryan
And then
Murphy calls
it's
says he wants to do it, you're gonna have to do
it's a no-brainer.
it. So what is it that you're most passionate about?
Ooh, well, right now I think I'm most passionate about my puppy, I think.
I see on social media, so cute.
Yeah. Well, mostly because he takes up so much time, but yeah, other than him, I think it would be the people that I have in my life. It's everybody comes into someone's life at a specific time, and it always draws different meaning and different purposes. And for me, I think right now it's about trying to be grateful and thankful for those that I do. And so I try to dive into the relationships I'm building and have built, and just to appreciate all of it.
Now, growing up in foster care, is that something that is different for you maybe than other people, do you think? Because being in foster care, there's uncertainties about people in your life and how long they're going to be there for. Do you
Oh,
value more?
oh, definitely. And growing up in foster care, moving around so much as
Mhm.
I did, you know, but not only that, there was so much fear for me, making new connections, new friends, because of the bullying. I'd always be bullied and teased no matter where I went. And so there was always the fear, to make friends. Okay, well, how is this going to turn bad for me? When are they
Mhm.
going to start bullying me, or what's going to happen? So you kind of close yourself off a bit. And so when you do make a connection, a friendship, for me, I would get too close, and then I'd get all sad because I'd be moving and upset. And then the next time I'd be more hesitant about making friends. And then so now I'm able to use that as, okay, well, I could be making great friendships, and even if it only lasts a year or a month, I should cherish that,
Mhm.
and be thankful that I even had it, and do what I can to hold on to those friendships and connections.
That's interesting. All that you do, the writing and social media, I see you're active on social media. So what's the most fulfilling part about what you do?
Oh, I don't know. Um, I guess seeing the differences in other people in their own lives. Everybody will post or tweet or comment different things about everything. And so I think my favorite thing is to see people's differences and how they react to, say, one thing. And because there's so much opinion and so much everything. I love it. I think it shows that we can be different, but it's about coming together in a sense. And but yeah, I think being on social media, that's probably my favorite, is just seeing the differences out there. It's weird, I know, but
No, I get it. I think it's a little different for Canadians than it is for Americans right now, especially because Americans are so divided.
oh,
Canada has some division when it comes to politics, but not, I don't think, as much as we have.
yeah, we no matter where you are, I think there's going to be a difference of opinion, and people are going to be more into one aspect of politics than the other. And for me, I've had various conversations, and politics is always so messy to talk about. It's a nightmare. And so I try, even on my posts, I try not to be political, just because I know there's going to be so much hate or distaste for one thing, or anything. And but yeah, Canada, we still have our issues, and it's hard to at times acknowledge those issues just because other places have bigger issues. And
And you don't want to get like that. You don't want to become that.
no, right now I just believe so much of unity, coming together. I don't believe in trying to separate people for being different, or and that's all I want. When I think of politics, my main concern is someone who wants to actually bring people together and to work together regardless of our differences. But
And what's the most fulfilling part about the writing for you, and the publishing of the books?
oh, um, being able to express myself in a way that I wouldn't think possible. I've had random people at times message me or talk to me and tell me, "Oh, well, I saw your book, or I saw this from various things, and it really spoke to me on a deep level." And so I think hearing and experience somebody else take something away from it, I think is the most powerful thing. And it's like, wow, that's, as a writer, that's so huge, because I can actually impact somebody in a way I never would have thought.
That's always the best part of anything you do, is to impact someone else and to hear that somebody actually was affected by something you did in a good way.
Oh, exactly.
And what would you call this particular chapter of your life? What would you title it?
Whew. Wow, that's a good question.
Other
I
than the
think it
puppy
would,
years.
yeah, I think it would be titled Patience.
Mm.
If anything, I one thing I've learned this past year is to really have patience. And it's never easy, it's never fun. Nobody wants to wait for things to get better or wait for better things. But within that time, I feel as though you learn so much.
Mm.
You can learn so much as long as you're open to it. And so by having that patience, and for me, having patience to see what happens, I think it's really important. So I think this time would probably be titled Patience.
That's a good title for it, I think. How do you stay positive during challenging times like this?
Looking for the small things. I would say that's for so long, I've always tried to find the small things that have so much meaning. So like even right now, I think when you see something that's really challenging or shock worthy, I look at my puppy. I just look for the small things, and getting that little look of hi, or coming up to me to get pet, and just the small little break, and where I can just feel a sense of calmness and relaxation. And yeah.
That's cool. That's a good thing you have the puppy.
I know, if I didn't have
And what's been getting you through the pandemic? What activities or people, or like what has been your saving grace in this whole pandemic?
oh, well, if anything, it's given me some time to write. uh, Last year, so 13 years was still in in the editing and production phase of publishing. And so I ended up writing two books, and that was The Clearing of a Clouded Mind and The Rainbow Spark. I finished writing The Rainbow Spark anyways. And so I was able to finish those finally. And then I started two others, and I just can't go anywhere. So you got to look for something that you want to do. And, you know, I want to write and I want to keep going after this. And so keep going. That's kept me so busy. And then the last 4 months, once I got my dog, my puppy, you know, I never realized how much attention that they require.
Mm.
And I love it, you know, at times you get so tired and you're like, oh, can you just go down? But, you know, I love being the subject of need for him, where he just, oh, I need you to play with me, or, you know, I need you to bring me for a walk. And, you know, it feels good. And so that kind of takes you away from everything else that's going on and distracts you. So,
And you and I have been following each other on social media for a while.
yes.
And then this past year with the pandemic felt like 17 years. So, so I'm a little bit like, timelines for me are weird now because of that. But I know there was a point where you were struggling with your like physical self, and you had lost a lot of weight, correct? Or
Yeah, so my weight's always fluctuated, and you know, I was bullied at various times too for being a little overweight, being chubby, you know, oh, you can't go swimming until you put your bra on, kind of thing, you know. And
yeah.
so it was always challenging my weight, and I was always so self-conscious. And so in 2019, you know, I said I want to do something to feel better, whether I need to or not. I just myself want to feel better. And so I stopped snacking, and, you know, I started eating a little bit less. And then I started working out at home, started losing a bit of weight. And then I got a gym membership and continued losing some weight. And then at the end of 2019, I moved somewhere where they had no gym anywhere close,
Oh,
which
wow.
was, you know, it sucked. But, and then the pandemic happened, and then
So
I
you couldn't
said,
go anyway.
and then it's like, okay, well, I just lost like 35 pounds, or, you know, whatever it was. But you know, I can always lose it again if I end up gaining some.
Hmm.
And thankfully, I don't think I gained it all back, a lot of it. But you know, it's just something to continuously work on. And
So what actually keeps you in shape? Is it your,
nothing.
and what keeps you on your nutrition goals? What keeps you up with your nutrition goals? Like, what's your secrets, if you have any?
Well, mine would be, like, I'm not a big eater during the day. So like I'll have little things here or there. You know, I'm a big coffee drinker in the morning. You know, that gets me going, and I'm
Mhm.
fine with that. But for me, it's the snacking.
Yeah.
So I since the new year, you know, I've cut out snacking completely. And just every time I make a meal, I try to think, okay, can I make it a little bit smaller? And sometimes I'll be like, no, because I just want to eat it all.
Right.
But it's just about trying to stay focused on, okay, well, if I have a little bit less, then, you know, that probably will be okay.
Yeah. So I'm a snacker too. So what I do is I divide my calories throughout the day. So I have 4 or 5 smaller meals, and also I switch to clean. Everything I eat is clean, so it's clean protein, clean eating. And I really haven't had sugar, and I haven't had much carbs, that really like complex carbs and things like that. But I find if I snack throughout the day, I'm more satisfied. So I make it smaller meals,
Right.
but more often.
Well, I need to try that.
And I do between noon and 8. So I eat between noon and 8, and
Oh, like the intermittent
yeah,
fasting.
yeah, because it just works for me. I don't know why. It's just like I was bad snacking at night when I was watching TV, and I was like, no, you
Yeah.
can't eat past this time anymore. You have to stop. And I'm not always good at it, especially during stressful times, but I try and I jump back on. If I screw up, I'm like, okay, tomorrow we'll do this again.
Yeah. Well, it's all about routine too, right? And so
Yeah,
you get into a routine of you know, between certain times, and after a while, I think it should probably get a little bit easier. And
that should.
yeah.
But for snackers, it's always hard because people who like to snack, you can eat a full meal and then you want to snack.
Oh, exactly.
So it's
Yeah.
like, what the hell? So I do smaller meals throughout the day. So I feel like, oh, it's time to eat again. Great, I'm eating again.
And who doesn't want to watch TV or watch a movie and have some a little something to
Yeah.
pass the time and to eat or and but
And then people tell you should drink water when you're doing that. I'm like, that's not gonna help me while I'm watching a movie. So where can people find you online if they want to follow you and find out about your books and all?
well, I have an Instagram and a Twitter. So my Instagram is Casey Hardman Writing. I specifically made it for my writing, so my books, things that I have coming up. I'm just starting to do some events. Like next Thursday, I have my first live Zoom book launch for
Oh,
13
nice.
years. I'm so excited and yet so nervous, and but anyway, so I'm posting all about that and where to buy copies if they want to, best places. If ever I see it on sale or on a discount, then I'll post that to get people going. And then there's also my puppy. I also post all. So have to break it up every once in a while.
For the people who are like Amazon diehards, it is available on Amazon. All the books are available on Amazon.
Oh, absolutely. And the Rainbow Spark, I actually published exclusively through Amazon Publishing. So yeah, it's just available on Amazon. But I think it's good. It's a light, smaller read. A lot of people were telling me because 13 years is a little bit longer, 328 pages, and so they're like, oh, I really want to read it, but it's going to take a bit of time because it's longer. And so then I was like, okay, then I need to make a shorter next book. And so I did.
Well, they have time to read now in the pandemic. There's plenty of time to read.
Exactly. If you follow the guidelines, you can't go anywhere anyway, so you might as well sit on the couch and pull up a book. But
take a break from binging those television shows and read a book.
Oh, exactly.
Now, being that I titled this podcast Prelude to Positivity, the idea behind that was that whenever you're going through a bad period of time and then fast forward a couple of years and look back, you always realize, first of all, it wasn't the worst moment of your life as you originally thought. And secondly, something better was coming along afterwards. So I wonder, when I have my guests, can you recall a time where you felt like it was just horrible, end of the world, and then now looking back, it's like it wasn't that bad and there was something better that came along right after? Where it was like preparing you for that?
Oh, that's really good. I think it would be, the little sayings for me, like those corny, cheesy little sayings that you hear, the grass is greener on the other side, sticks and stones, that, just little sayings that people will say to try and help people feel better. And when you're going through a struggle or an issue, when you're feeling really down on yourself, especially for me back then, I hated hearing them. They were the worst thing I could possibly think to hear. And as time went on, they're the things that you actually look back on. And for me, I've looked back on those probably more than anything. And those little cheesy sayings actually hold so much power and meaning. And it's like, yeah, it's darkest before the dawn. So it's really dark, but it can get, the sun can come out. And so I think that would be mine, is just really reflecting and remembering those little things that did seem weird or strange and just silly, but they hold so much power.
Well, because when people do that, usually when someone's going through troubles, they're looking for an answer, and no one can give you the answer except yourself. So they give you those little things to help you, and you're just like, but I want an answer. I don't want that. How do I fix it?
I want to fix to this problem. I want to definitely feel better, and that's just make me think more.
Don't give me work. Just fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's one thing that you absolutely cannot live without?
The people in my life now, I would say, especially these past 8 years, I've been with the same partner for 8 years now. And
that's a milestone, especially in gay years.
I know. And it came at a really strange, unexpected time, but it was probably hold the most meaning. And I couldn't live without, him, his family, the friends we've made together in our years together. And I just am so grateful for everything, just really giving me reasons to smile. And I think that is just something I could never forget. So something I could never repay, that kind of, you know, feeling. So
That's good. That's a good one. And how about, what is one thing that you wish that we could all live without?
hate or, I just, and I know it's so vague, but just the separation, because people may be different or seem different, whether it's the way we look, color of our skin, our beliefs, religion, political views. I think our differences are what makes us special. They make us unique, and they shouldn't be something to divide us. They should be something to unify and be celebrated. So I think that we can live without that kind of hate.
That's a good one. And so, speaking of Instagram and Twitter, if you had to describe yourself in 3 hashtags, what 3 hashtags would you use to describe Casey Hardman?
Ooh, 3 hashtags. Weird, strange laugh. I have a really weird laugh when I'm really laughing, and people who've known me for years, they always laugh at my laugh, but but it's something I love. So strange laugh, and I don't know. I think I can't believe I can't think of a third one to describe myself. I guess creative. I literally am always writing, and I use a lot of times I'll write from dreams that I'll have. So I have so many books on the go currently, and they're all from dreams. So I'm always creating, and so I probably creative would be the third one then.
Those are cool. Now that you mentioned Zoom, you're gonna do like a meet and greet or something on a Zoom. How do people get involved in that?
Yeah, so there's a local bookstore in Calgary, Alberta, where I am, and they're doing an online Zoom book launch for me for 13 Years Fostered. And so on their website, Owl's Nest Books, there's some links in my Instagram and on Twitter. It's my pinned tweet. So if people want to check it out, they can do it that way, sign up for the Zoom meeting. And Owl's Nest is also selling signed copies that they have at store, and they can ship out, or they can have them ready if somebody wants to come in and pick them up. So
And when is the live event?
on the 21st of January.
Cool. And is there anything that you want to leave everybody with, a thought?
Yes, find reasons to smile. I think especially now it's really important. There's so much going on, and to find a reason that actually makes you smile. Don't smile just to smile, to make others happy. Find a reason for you, and I think it'll go a long way and be more meaningful to you, where you'll want to smile more because you feel like smiling.
Cool. And I think everyone should go read the book, because even though you said it's 300 and something pages and it's a little heavy, obviously the story ends well.
Yeah, it does. And I think it's, and it's on an important issue. So many people face struggles and situations that they don't know how to deal with. And it's the hope that it can speak to a large group of people, where it's like, okay, well, there's others out there who have gone through similar issues and situations. So.
And a happy ending. So that's always good.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I always enjoy talking to you online, so it's great to actually see you and talk to you like this.
Yes, and I appreciate it as well. So thank you.
No problem. I mean, I saw you tweeting about the book, and then I went and looked the book up, and I read stuff about it, and I was like, oh, this is so interesting. Like, it would be a great inspirational thing for right now.
Oh, well, that's really meaningful. So thank you.
Thank you for coming, and come back anytime. And hopefully you write many books and you come back many times.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. Feel free. Just send me a message.
Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.